we're starting a new part. And you'll notice you should have it set to advanced if you don't already. And you should have your templates folder tab available to you. And you set that up in your options, right? Okay, and then when you come over here, you should have two templates, one for inches and one for metric. We did the metric together last week. And then you were supposed to create the inches during lab. Now, if you do not see your templates, you need to raise your hand and have Ron help you. If you did not create your templates, then you're going to have to use a metric a metric template, or start with a part file, and then make sure your units are in metric, and then fix it. And then during the lab, play catch-up and have Ron help you. Okay, but we're going to be working in metric, so we're going to select the part millimeter ANSI and say OK. And then it's going to load. Anybody lost?
Is the inch template, is that just the one that like comes with SolidWorks? It's like always on there?
There's some default templates, and depending on how SolidWorks was set up, it's either going to be inches or millimeters. So remember, you can always change the units down here from inches to millimeters. Okay? So if you didn't set your templates up, you can just open up a part template and then set your units, and then during lab, make sure you create your templates folder and create your templates properly. Okay, and have Ron help you. Okay, so.
But are the lengths going to stay the same for the inch ones? Because the lengths we change it from like 0.12 to 0.1.
Yeah, you need to set your decimal places, and you need to set your drafting standard to ANSI.
Okay.
These are things I talked about last week.
Just those two things?
And you should have your drafting standard set to ANSI. And
I think if I can just do the part.
right.
Yeah.
And then Ron can help you with setting it up if you're behind.
Way back.
Okay. So we're on page 1-73, and you remember in the book, one of the first things she does is she always saves the part so that as you're working, it's going to get saved to the correct place. So you want to make sure that you're on your flash drive, and you're on the correct folder, in the projects folder, and we're going to call it ROD, and we want to always use all capital letters because that's ANSI standard, and the description is going to be ROD 10 millimeter diameter by 100 millimeter diameter.
So you're in the class, right? Yeah. You got your laptop.
Okay. You're going to have to squeeze in. I don't know where you're going to squeeze in. Go get a chair. Go get a chair. Okay. So we want to make sure that you've got the name and the description in there. I don't know where else we're going to squeeze people, Ron. We have some extra books for people who did not bring a book. We have 2 extra books. Okay, so everybody should have saved their part. Question? Everybody should have their part saved, and it should be saved in their homework or their projects folder.
What about having everything capitalized? Is that something that should get?
Yes, you should get comfortable with using all caps because that's ANSI standard, and if you use all caps, that's the way it's going to appear in your parts list or your bill of materials. If I see lowercase or sentence case in your bills of materials, you're going to get points knocked off, and you're going to have to fix it.
We're always
So,
yelling in SolidWorks.
yeah, okay. This goes back to the days where we were hand lettering our drawings, and this is an ANSI standard, okay? So we have to go by ANSI standards. Okay, everybody good? Anybody needing help? Make sure to raise your hand. We have Ron here tonight if you get lost. We are on page 1-74. Our first sketch is going to be on the front plane. So remember, we can go to our feature browser to locate the front plane. You want to put your left mouse over the front plane, right click, and select sketch to start a sketch. How do we know we're in a sketch? See exit sketch, see the sketch tools over here, see the word sketch over here in the feature browser, right? So those are all your clues to give you a warm fuzzy to let you know that you are in sketch mode. Okay? Our first sketch is going to be a circle. We're going to the sketch ribbon. We're looking for the circle tool right here on the ribbon. We want the center point of the circle to be coincident with the origin. So we're going to select the circle, move our mouse over. You should see that little green dot. What does that little green dot indicate? Coincident. Left click, move your mouse out. You're going to left click again to place the outside of the circle. Then you're going to right click, select Smart Dimension, place the dimension. This circle is going to be 10 millimeters. Green check. Right click, select. What does it say down here? Why is it fully defined?
Color.
Yeah. Origin. So we've given it both we've located it in relationship to the origin, and we've given it a size. So we've done everything you need to do to fully define that sketch. Is there anybody who was not able to place their circle and dimension it and needs help? Okay, so now we're ready to extrude. What tab do you select to extrude? Features. We want to select the Features tab right over here. So you want to select the Features tab. We're going to select Boss Base Extrude right here. It should switch to an isometric view automatically, and we want it to be 100 millimeters. So we're going to change this dimension to 100 millimeters. And notice the preview will update. And then you want to go green check. We see a little asterisk up here next to the file name. What does that asterisk mean? Means that you've made a change, so it's a good idea to save so you don't lose your work. So as soon as I hit the save button, that asterisk will go away. Any questions about what we just did? Okay, we're on page 1-75. We're going to place a hole on the front view. So one of the ways we can orient to front view is we can come up here and select this little drop down. And select front view. Shortcut is Control +1. So if you do the Control key +1, that will also give you a front view. Another way to get to the front view is to press the space bar. Then you get this again. Now if you don't like this view cube thing, you can disable it right here. So if you untoggle that, that gets rid of that cube. Okay? And again, you can just click right here for the front. And that takes you to a front view. Right? So we're on page 1-75. We want to place a hole. We're going to place a hole using the hole wizard on the features ribbon. Remember I talked about the hole wizard last week. The hole wizard is one of the tools that's kind of a reverse Polish tool, right? You want to select the plane before you select the tool. So we want to select this face right here before we select the hole wizard. Otherwise, your hole might not place correctly. So you want to highlight this face and then select hole wizard. Remember, if you're having problems, raise your hand. Ron will come up and help you. There's a slight pause when you're bringing up the hole wizard because it's going out to Excel and bringing up the database. It's kind of like taking a pause to go reach for the machinist's handbook and check for all the different hole sizes. You've got two tabs on the hole wizard. The first tab tells you what type of hole. The second tab lets you locate where you want the holes to be. So first we're going to say what type of hole. And we're just going to do a regular drill hole with the no thread. Alright? We're going to do an ANSI metric. Right here. We're going to set the hole size to 3 millimeters. Okay? And we're going to say that it's going to be blind and it's going to be 10 millimeter deep. So these are the settings you should see. Question?
180 degree. Does that matter?
No, it doesn't really matter.
And if countersink is checked, we should uncheck that.
Correct. So I unchecked show custom sizing and I unchecked near size countersink for you guys. Everybody good? Okay. So we've defined the size of the hole that we want to place. Now we want to click on positions. We want the center of the hole to be coincident to the origin. Notice I have a little asterisk next to my cursor that indicates the center point of the hole. So I just want to put my cursor right next to the origin. I get that little green dot, and I left click. And then I right click select. And then I'm going to green check. And I'm going to rename my hole. Now to rename my hole, I just hit F. And I'm going to rename this front hole. And then I'm going to save.
How did you go hold to that center?
I just placed it and made it coincident. Now, question? Oh, he was having, that's a problem with that installation of SolidWorks. So we're gonna, so I'm gonna have to have Jerry check that machine. Question, Leonard?
Question, name these different parts, should we do those in all caps?
No, that doesn't matter as much. Basically, you're naming the features to make it easy for you to figure out what goes where later on if you need to make a change to the part. We are now on page 1-77. Now a lot of times when you're inserting a rod, you want to chamfer the end because that kind of gives you a leading edge. It kind of makes it easier for it to slide into wherever the rod's sliding into. So we want to add a chamfer to this edge right here. Okay, so our chamfer tool is hidden. It's hidden on the features ribbon underneath the fillet tool. Notice there's this little drop down arrow underneath fillet, and chamfer is located right there. So if you select that, notice chamfer's right here. And you can select the edges and it'll add it here. Now, if you accidentally select the wrong edge, you can right click and delete it. Now, another thing you can do is if you can select the edge first and then select chamfer, and notice it automatically fills in. So you can go either way. You can select the edge and then the tool, or select the tool and then the edge. And you can select more than one edge at a time. We want it to be 1 millimeter, not 10 millimeters. And we want it to be 45 degrees. And notice I've got it set to do a preview, so I can see what it's going to look like. Any questions? Yes.
I don't have the degrees on my phone. I'm on the chamfer tool and selecting everything.
Does it say angle set to angle distance?
Yeah.
And you have 1 millimeter, 45
I have 1 millimeter, but I have no 45 degrees box. I have no box for any degree at all.
That's really bizarre. Let me see.
Because you've got, somehow it's set to distance. Can you click on distance? Okay, now see, not total distance. So, I think this is saying distance. Exit it out again. I think you can, I don't think it's you. Lucky you.
This is, sometimes it's the software, hey. Okay. Ready to move on now? If you're happy with your feature and you're ready to be done, you want to hit the green check. Do you see the green check on the screen? You can either hit the green check here or the green check here. Either one. They both do the same thing. They basically say, I'm happy with what I'm doing and I'm ready to commit to it. And I'm going to rename this front chamfer. And save.
So this hole was in both places, so it's an open sketch.
Because he did not select the plane first, and then he selected Hole Wizard.
Click on the face.
Okay, help him and I'll come over.
Yeah, open Hole Wizard. And hit the same.
Okay, so we've got our chamfer. This next part, we're going to be adding a keyhole slot to our rod. Keyhole slot is basically to help you orient a rod. A lot of times you use a keyhole when you're doing a robotic assembly. That way the robot can kind of locate and orient the part correctly. This section of the part creation, a lot of students have problems with, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to watch me and then do it, because if you try to do it with me, you're going to miss a lot, okay? So the first thing is we want to create this keyhole slot, and a lot of times you have existing geometry, you don't want to have to recreate it, you want to leverage it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch, and we're basically going to copy geometry onto the sketch. So I'm on page 1-78. Right, so I'm going to start my sketch on this face right here where the hole is. So I'm going to select that face and say new sketch. Alright, I'm going to go switch back to an isometric view so you can kind of see what's going on. Now what I want to do is I want to copy this outside edge onto my sketch, because I'm going to use that diameter for my keyhole sketch. Now I could draw a circle, But by using the existing geometry, if the diameter of my rod changes, then the size of my keyhole will also change. So it kind of helps me link the geometry values, all right? Easier to maintain. So how do I do that? I have a convert entities tool right here on the sketch ribbon, and what that does is it basically copies geometry. It works the same way as that chamfer tool did. I can either select the edge or edges that I want to convert and then the tool, or I can select the tool and then the edges. It'll work either way. Question?
Does it, when you do that copying, does it also create a relationship between?
Yeah, it basically says this links it so that it's always going to be that size. You can break the link if later you decide to, or you can keep them linked. If you keep them linked, sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. You kind of have to be aware, right? Sometimes it works for you and sometimes it can work against you depending on how complex your part becomes. All right? So I'm going to select this outside edge right here, and then I'm going to say convert entities. So I'm going to click on convert entities. There's a pause while it thinks about it. And then it's going to bring up a dialog box. Oh, I didn't. It just did it. So I want to kind of orbit around so you can see how it copied this circle over to the sketch plane. Do you see that? So I'm going to orbit around again so you can see that? Cool, yeah? All right, so now I want you guys to try it, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So you're going to, step 1, you're going to select this face for a new sketch. Step 2, you're going to select this edge. Step 3, you're going to select convert entities. If you have problems, raise your hand. Ron or I will come over to help you.
So first you're going to select this face, and select new sketch. New sketch. And then you're going to left click out here. Left click. Left click, not right click. Left click. Left click. Thank you. Now select that edge. Now select convert entities. And that's it. Okay? You want to select this face. You want to select new sketch, not edit sketch. Okay. Now you want to left click out here. Select this edge. Who else needs help? Not edit sketch, new sketch. New sketch. Now let's click down here. Left click, select this edge. And then select convert entities. You're done. Anybody else need help? All good. Alright, so now we're ready to move on. Once again, I want you to put your hands behind your backs and watch me. Okay? We're on page 1-78 still. Okay? I'm going to switch back to a normal view, so I'm looking at it straight on. Now, when you're looking at it straight on, you still can kind of see that edge that we converted. See that kind of squiggly black line? All right, now what I want to do is I want to draw a straight vertical line. So I'm going to use my line tool right here. And I'm just going to draw a straight line and drag it just like that. Okay? Now, this is the part that I need you to watch. What I want to do, question?
Question about this, when you're going to get ready to do a feather in the drawing, what about the orientation on the XY axis? Is that be considered, should we be considering it now? Because it would have any bearing later on.
Well, I mean, I've got a vertical constraint on this line. So,
But you wanted to know what?
yeah, it's right there on the y-axis, okay? Now, the rod, when we're placing in the assembly, we'll be able to orient it however we want the keyhole to be oriented, right?
Then it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to keep this geometry kind of like a half moon. All right? So what we want to do is we want to delete this section, we want to delete this section, and we want to delete this section. All right? I need you to watch me, hands behind your back or on your butt, whatever you need to do to contain yourselves. All right, so we have a trim tool here. Now, how many of you are AutoCAD users? Okay, does not work at all like AutoCAD. Okay, so so wipe your mind of any AutoCAD behavior because it doesn't work like that. All right, so when we select the trim tool, we've got a bunch of options. Okay, in terms of how we can trim. None of them work like AutoCAD. The reason none of them work like AutoCAD is because AutoCAD has a patent on how their trim tool works. So SolidWorks, when they were developing their software, they had to make sure that they didn't violate AutoCAD's patent because Autodesk will sue you, okay, if you violate any of their patents. They go after you like a bulldog on whatever. Okay, so you do not want to piss Autodesk off, ever. So in the exercise, what we're going to do is you're going to use what's called the power trim, which is this very first tool. Notice this is what's shaded down. Now, the power trim is, imagine you're holding a giant machete, okay, and you're going slash, 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 okay, like a ripper, okay? Like a ninja, all right? So if you're not careful, you will destroy geometry you want to keep, all right? So you have to be kind of careful about how you use it. And the way it works is you've selected the trim tool, and you've enabled power trim, all right? Then I hold down my left mouse button, and that's like picking up the machete, okay? And then I slash my machete across, and when I release my left mouse button, that's the same as stopping my chop, okay? And you'll notice, see how that one slash got rid of a bunch of geometry, and all I've got left is this little leg down here, right? So to get rid of that little leg down here, once again, I hold down my left mouse button and I slash it across. Okay, so it's like, and then release. All right, so that's how it works. And then if I'm happy, then I can green check. I'm done with my trim. All right, that's not the same as exiting the sketch. That's just exiting the trim command. And notice what I have left. I have just the vertical line and just this section of arc. And notice the arc is black because it's considered fully defined because it's got that link relationship with that edge that we copied. So now it's your turn. What you're going to do is you're going to draw that vertical line and then you're going to try and trim it using the power trim. Be very, very careful because you're now armed with a machete. All right, if you accidentally destroy geometry that you want to keep, use Control Z or undo. Okay, question.
Are we concerned about the horizontal position of this line?
We will be, in a second, we'll be controlling that. Okay, but right now, I just want you to draw the vertical line and then try and trim out your geometry.
Quick question. So
It's only dealing with the sketch. It's only deleting geometry inside the sketch. It's not a real machete.
Take all that out.
Sorry. Right, it's on the plane for the existing sketch, for the active sketch. Yes.
Oh, okay. Outside line.
Good job. Bravo. Okay. Everybody ready to move on? We've all got our vertical line and our arc. We're all brilliant. Okay, so now all we have to do is add a dimension to the vertical line and it will be fully defined. Okay, so we just select Smart Dimension. We select that vertical line, we bring it out, and we say 6. And by controlling the size there, that automatically locates it to make it fully defined. Good deal. And now we're going to go over to features and we're going to do an extruded cut to create our keyway. We're on page 1-81. We're going to say extruded cut, and our extruded cut is going to be 15 millimeters. You should see a preview of the cut into the rod, and then you're going to say green check, green check. And we're going to rename our keyway and save. Question?
Label like keyway, should we keep that in caps also, or?
No, it doesn't matter. Because the naming your features is just to help you to maintain the part. It doesn't actually appear in any drawings. Any questions?
15 millimeters long?
15 millimeters long. 1.5. Everybody good? Anybody having problems? Raise your hand if you're having problems. You didn't trim. No, I can still see the part. Okay, so we have our keyway. We're now on page 1-83. What we want to do is we want to place a hole on the back side of the rod. We have a hole in the front, on the front face, then we want to put a hole on the back face. Well, we could just select the back face and place a new hole, right? Using the hole wizard. Or, in the book, what she has us do is copy and paste. Okay, we can copy the hole and paste it to the new face and then modify it. So that's what we're going to do, just so you can see how to do it. Personally, I don't see that copy and paste saves you any more time than just selecting a face and doing another hole. But just so you have the option of knowing you can do it. Okay, so how do we copy and paste? So if you hold down, select the front hole in your browser, so you can just highlight that hole and then go edit, copy, and you can also go Control C, right? And then orbit over to the back face and go edit, paste. It'll give you this dialog box and it'll say, do you want to delete relationships? And I'm just going to say delete them because I'm going to recreate them. And that places the hole, but it places the hole in the wrong place. So now I've got to modify that hole. So I'm going to right click and go edit feature. I'm going to hold for a second, give you a chance to copy and paste and place the hole there. So notice you see the 3 millimeter diameter hole on the back side. If you didn't rename your hole, then it's going to show as 3 diameter hole. I renamed my front hole so I could keep track of which one's the front hole and which one's the rear hole, to make it easy to select. Okay, so you're in filter. Okay, so yeah. Move your mouse down. Okay, this is like a hotkey. This is a hotkey that every once in a while gets enabled. It happens to me too. It's called selection filter. You don't have a mouse, so that's it. Okay, alright, so yeah. If you right click over here.
Hold on. I can flick in the air.
Okay. No, you don't want to be in the sketch.
Well, that 3 is the new one. So the front hole is the distance from. We created that hole, so we have it
Okay, great. And see where's the selection?
Yes.
Okay, see how this is doing?
Oh, I see.
Just say it. Now, your mouse over your eyes.
What is the selection filter?
It's basically just exactly what it sounds like. So it says, okay, I only want to select edges, or I only want to select faces. And not very useful unless you're doing really complex geometry. Right. Or like if you're doing like if you're doing like a loft or like an umbrella type thing or a mushroom, then yeah. And then select exact, and then you go edit things. And then delete. It says it's placed because I see it there. Oh, but it's a dollar hole. Okay, is this one out? Right click and feature. So, right. Yeah, see, yeah.
See, that's a big difference, yeah, so do check. Front hole, and then go edit, copy, select the space, and then go edit, paste. And then you'll say,
so we've got our hole. It's not fully defined. We need to recenter it. We're also going to change the size from 3 millimeter to 4 millimeter. Okay? So how do we do that? We're going to highlight the hole and we're going to select Edit Feature. Right here where it says Edit Feature. That'll bring the hole wizard back up. We're going to change the size to 4 millimeters. And then we're going to go over to positions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the size. Make sure you've set it to type drill sizes. One person had theirs set to dowel hole. So make sure you have it set to drill size. Okay? And then once you've got the size changed, then you're going to go over to positions. You're going to right click, go select. We want to add a relationship between the center point and the origin. Okay, I want you to watch me a second. One way to do that is, notice over here, we have the feature tree. If you click on the plus right here, it shows you all your features. See that? So I can highlight the origin here and hold down my control key to select that whole center point and then select coincident to add the relationship. So it's another fast way to do it. I'm going to show you that again. Okay, first I hit the plus here to expand it. I select origin right here. Then I hold down my control key and I select the center point. So now I've got the 2 points selected, the center point of the hole and the origin point, and then I can say coincident, and that will add the coincident relationship, and that origin pops right into the center. And then I can hit green check, and then I have to select green check again to finish editing the feature. That first green check was getting me out of, that's confirming, yes, add the relationship. Now I want to confirm, yes, I'm done defining my hole. So then I go green check. And now I have a 4 millimeter hole here and a 3 millimeter hole here. I'm going to rename this rear hole or back hole. I don't know any way to call it with that doesn't sound oddly sexual. You know, I don't know. Okay. Okay. So here's my part. Okay. So everybody's got, this is what you should have so far. Okay? If you're lost, confused, frustrated, feeling sad, you are not alone. You got plenty of company. Everybody can all have you can like start a support group. Ron will be your leader. Okay? This is what you should have at this point. Okay? It is now time for us to orphan some of our children. Uh-oh. Oh no. This is what happens. We start our design, we get this looking good, and then our boss comes and wants to make a change. We do not want to lose our children. Ever. Right? Those of you who are parents understand how precious your children are to you, and you do not want to lose them, right? You would never want to lose them. So if you're in a crisis mode, you would put your children someplace safe. You would send them to grandma's house or your brother's or sister's house. You would put them someplace where they will be safe, right? You protect your children. So that is what we are going to do next. We are going to protect our children while we make changes, and then we will slowly reincorporate them into the family. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. Sorry. All right, so how do we save our children? We can use what's called the rollback bar. That's this blue bar right here. And what we can do is we can move this up to the Boss Extrude so that all our children features are safe. So what you do is you put your mouse over that rollback bar, you see your little hand, and you move it up so that you just have a Boss Extrude. Okay, question? Okay, we'll go. Ron will be there in a sec. Okay, so notice that all my children have gone away. They're still there. I just moved them over to Grandma's house so that they're safe while I make some changes to my family structure. Maybe I kick my husband out of the house, bring in a new guy. Whatever I need to do, right? Make whatever changes are necessary to protect the children. Was everybody able to get their roll bar at the correct location? Okay, you cannot activate it if you're in sketch. You have to exit the sketch. Okay? Say this number. Okay? Now you can move it. Okay? Anybody else? Question? Exit it out. So, right click on the hole, you will activate. All right.
Okay, all right. So everybody should have all their children suppressed, okay, and just have their base feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a neck to our rod. Okay, so we're going to select this face for a new sketch. We're going to select the circle tool. We're going to make the circle coincident to the origin. We're going to bring it out. And we're going to dimension it 7 millimeters. Front face. Front face. So you want to select the front face, southerly sketch, add a circle, center point to the origin, 7 millimeters. Okay? We're on page 1-86. Now before when we did an extruded cut, we cut out this part, right? We cut the inside of the circle. This time what we want to do is we want to remove this, the outside of the circle, okay? So to do that, we go to Features. We're going to the Features ribbon. We go Extruded Cut. And we want to flip the side to cut. So notice it previews it and saying, oh, you want to cut the inside. We don't want to cut the inside. We want to cut the outside. So we put a check there, and notice it previews that now it's cutting the outside, and we want to cut 10 millimeters. Okay, so notice that it's previewing, and notice you see this little arrow here showing that we're cutting outside of the circle. And then we want to go green check. And we create this neck. I'm going to rename that neck. And save it. Okay. Was everybody able to create a neck? Is there anybody needing help? Okay. So you're going to go extruded cut. Left side to cut. 10 millimeters. Who's next? Okay, so see a lot of necks, so that's good.
Okay, so now what we want to do, you want to go to features. You want to go extruded cut, put a check on the left side of cut, change this to 10, green check. Okay, so now we've got things settled on the home front. We've made the design change our boss asked us to make. It's time to reclaim our children. We're going to get each child one at a time, bring them back into the nest, so to speak, make them feel warm and fuzzy, do whatever we can to make them feel good about themselves, and then we'll go for the next child. Okay? So, we're going to select this rollback bar. We're just going to take it one feature at a time. Okay? So we take this rollback bar, we just drop it down one for the front hole. Hey, the front hole came in fine. Do you see that? Okay? The eldest child, they are so resilient. Okay? So our oldest child was fine. And that's usually the way it is with oldest children, right? They usually roll with the punches. Now we're going to go for the middle child, one of the middle children. So we're going to roll it down one more. Okay, now we've got a problem with the front chamfer. Okay? Do you see that I've got a little X on my front chamfer? Do you see that? All right, it's saying that there's a problem. Middle children, they're so needy. Okay? Yes. Okay, so we got our front chamfer. To fix it, we want to right-click and go Edit Feature so we can fix it. And what it's telling me is it's telling me it's missing the edge. It's missing the edge because the edge that it had was where? Was where we placed the neck, right? So that's why the middle child is unhappy. Okay? So what we got to do is we got to give it the new edge. So I'm going to put my mouse here and I'm going to right click, and notice when I highlight it, it shows me this is where I was expecting an edge, and it's not there anymore. Mom, fix me, right? So we're going to delete and give it a new edge, and then the middle child will be happy. And then you go green check. See? It's good. Okay? Now we have to get the youngest child. Okay? That's going to be the keyway. So we're going to come back and we're going to bring the bar down for the keyway, and this time it's giving me this little yellow exclamation point. Do you see that? And notice that my keyway is really short now because the keyway sketch is over here. And because we've added that neck, we really want the keyway sketch to start on this face. So remember, I think someone asked me, can you move a sketch from one face to another face if you accidentally pick the wrong plane or the wrong face? And the answer is yes. You can redefine your sketch plane. So what we can do is we can put our plus, click on the plus, and notice then you can see your sketch, the sketch that is used to define the keyway. That sketch is that vertical line and that arc. And we want to redefine the sketch plane where that sketch is. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight the sketch, and the very second tool right here is Edit Sketch Plane. And what that does is it allows me to select a new sketch plane for the sketch. Okay, so I'm going to click on Edit Sketch Plane, and notice it highlights the face. It shows me the face where the sketch lives. And I don't want that face. I want this face, right? So I'm going to right-click and say delete, and then I'm going to select that face, right? And then I'm going to go green check. And then it's going to say it's got some relationships that need to be cleaned up. And I'm going to say okay. So here's my sketch. And notice it's previewing and now it's looking better, right? But I still have some what's called dangling relationships because I moved stuff around. So I need to edit the sketch. So I'm going to highlight the sketch, and the very first tool in the toolbar is Edit Sketch. So I'm going to select Edit Sketch. And then I'm going to come over here where it says Display Delete Relationships. Do you see right there? On the ribbon. And I'm going to click on Display Delete Relations. And it shows me all the relationships in the sketch, but I don't know which one it's having a problem with. If I click on this down arrow, it'll show me any dangling relationships. That's relationships that no longer exist. So I'm going to click on dangling. And it says you have a dangling relationship because of, you did that convert entities, and now that relationship doesn't really exist anymore because you created that extruded cut for the neck. So you need to delete that relationship. So I'm going to delete that dangling relationship. And then notice it no longer is yellow, but it's underdefined. Do you see that? So if I wanted to make it fully defined, what I could do is I could add a relationship between this edge and this arc and say that I want them to be co-radial. What that means is that they have the same radius. Okay, and then I'm going to green check. And now it says it's fully defined. I can exit the sketch, and notice the keyway now has no alarms. Looks good. And now if I move my mouse down one, the rear hole is just fine because the rear hole wasn't affected, right, by any of the other issues. We are now done with the rod. Woohoo! Yay! Now I know some of you fell behind. Some of you got lost. Some of you couldn't keep up. That's okay. You got an hour and a half left. Okay, question? No, finish up the rod, work on your homework. Questions? Yes.
I did all those steps and I still have a warning on this.
Okay, I'll come over and help you. Ron's available to help you. Question?
Because I wasn't technically in class last time, I didn't get a snip of the class.
End grade? Okay, I have the printout for end grade, so if you're missing end grade slip, come to me. If you need software, I need to, who still needs software? 1, 2? Just 2 people? Okay, so, what?
And if we're done with the raw, we can do homework at home.
Then you can go. Yeah, especially since you're uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't blame you for leaving. I would leave too if I were you. Much more comfortable working at home. Who's there?
No.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Questions only, meeting for help in a minute, okay? Everybody ready to go in the lab?
End grades now?
Sorry?
End grades now?
Yeah, if you need a login, come to me for the end grade and I will give you a slip because I have them printed out, okay? All right.
Things to work on during the lab. Templates. If you have any problems with your templates, deal with it now, because it's only going to get worse later, right? As we get more and more intense, right? Finish the rod up, get the rod cleaned up. A couple of you, I noticed when you copied and pasted the rear hole, you did not change the size of the hole. That rear hole needs to be 4 millimeters. If you did not change the size of the rear hole to 4 millimeters, you need to go back and change it to 4 millimeters. Okay? Make sure you've made notes on what the flight check is so that you're not hugging wrong every time. All right? By the third, fourth week of class, you should be coming in, setting up your templates with no help, right? You should just have it down. Boom, good. All right? Homework assignment, you got 4 parts to do in an hour and a half. Some of you it might take a little bit longer. Right? Okay. Name?
I'm working my own, man, but I don't get to see it. I gotta go see it.
Thank you.
Okay. Question.
Should we follow the material density?
Don't worry about that.
How about decimal places since our
Don't worry about it. Question.
end grade?
Question. Name?
Chamfer. Lopez?
Depends.
Anything 4 millimeters? We're talking about the depth or just the
Diameter of the hole.
Okay.
Need help? Okay. Help? Help? Okay, if you come earlier, you might get a seat.
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Okay.